Authoring HTML really requires little more than just a text editor. HTML documents are really nothing more than text files with a .htm or .html extension, so almost any text editing tool will suffice. However, authoring websites requires you to code HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and writing it all by hand can be really time-consuming. A good HTML editor can help speed up that process and catch syntax errors that you might miss. At a minimum, you're going to want to have a code editing tool that has line numbers, code formatting options, syntax highlighting, and code support for all of the languages that you're going to be authoring. Now, if you're working on a team that authors or edits HTML, chances are your team already has a tool they work with. This might be a desktop program like Dreamweaver, Coda, or Sublime, or it might be within the authoring environment of a CMS like WordPress or Expression Engine. If you're already using a desktop editor in your work environment, I recommend using it for this course. If your team is using a CMS, well, I recommend choosing a basic editor for this course and then focusing on learning the CMS after you've mastered the basics of writing HTML. If, on the other hand, you're brand new to web development and haven't picked a tool yet, I recommend trying out several different types of authoring tools before settling on a favorite. My Web Design Fundamentals and CSS Fundamentals courses both have movies in them that give an overview of a wide range of HTML editors. Try downloading trial versions of a few of them and experiment with them as you begin to learn HTML. You're bound to find one that fits your personal preferences. Now, for this course, I'm going to be using Komodo Edit. It's free, it's cross-platform, and it has all the HTML features that we'll need for this course. Now, I'm going to give you a very brief rundown of where you can download it, how to set up my workspace, things like that, but I'm not going to go into using Komodo beyond those basic points. If you decide to use it, there's plenty of documentation on their site to get you started. So to find Komodo Edit, you can go to activestate.com and look for Komodo Edit. Komodo Edit is the one you're looking for. This is the free open source editor. They do have another IDE called Komodo, and it's actually a more robust one that you'll have to get a license for. So you're looking for Komodo Edit. The download button is right there. Just download it and install it. Now, once you've got it installed, go ahead and open it up, and I'm just going to show you very briefly how to set up a workspace. The first thing that you want to do is to create a project. You can see I've got a couple of projects over here in this pane. I'm just going to go right here to this pull down menu and tell it that I want a new project. And here I'm just going to say test. And if you copied your exercise files to the desktop, that's the folder you want to choose. So I'm going to go out to my desktop, find the exercise files directory that I copied over there earlier, and I'm just going to save that. It'll list all those files right up here in this Places pane, and that's going to give you easy access to all the files that we'll be editing and working with. So as soon as you drill down in the folders, you can find files, double-click on them, and that's going to open them up in this workspace. In order to set up the preferences for the coding workspace, I'm going to go to my preferences. You can find them under Edit Preferences on the PC and Komodo Preferences for the Mac. So if I go into my preferences, the first one I want to take a look at is Code Intelligence. One of the first things that I turned off was this little checkbox right here that says automatically insert end tag when typing a start tag in an HTML document. Now, that's very helpful for a lot of people when they're coding from scratch, but a lot of our exercises are going to be wrapping already existing content in tags, and that can be a little frustrating. So I went ahead and turned that off. I recommend you do the same if you're using Komodo. The next thing I did was just go to Fonts and Colors, and I changed the default font that I'm going to be using and increased the font size a little bit to make it a little bit easier for you guys to read as I'm working with it. Just find a size and a font that you're comfortable with. Your screen does not have to match mine in that regard. I click OK, and that's really all I've done to customize this workspace. One last thing I want to show you guys is throughout the course when I'm working on pages, you'll see me previewing them in the browser. Komodo actually happens to have this feature. If you look right up top, there's this little planet icon, and if I grab the pull-down menu, I can see that all my browsers that are installed are right there for me, and just by clicking one of them, it'll go ahead and open up that page within the browser, which is very helpful. If you're using a code editor that does not have that feature, you can simply open up your browser, open up the page from the browser, and then just refresh the page whenever you've made a change in your code editor. That would work just fine as well. It doesn't really matter. Remember, for this course, it does not matter which code editing tool you use. You just want to find one that has all the features that you need and best fits your personal preferences.